My boss found out I was gay and tried to fire me, so I exposed his secret affair. So, I, 27M, thought my job was finally the one. Good pay, amazing team, and a boss who seemed chill. Until one day, everything changed. Because when my boss found out I was gay, he tried to destroy me. But what he didn't know, he had way more to lose than I did. And let's just say, I was about to make sure his whole world came crashing down that I worked at this tech company for about 3 years. It wasn't glamorous, but I loved it. I worked hard, got promoted fast, and even won a few internal awards. My boss, let's call him Mark, was one of those corporate guys who always wore a perfect suit, slick back hair, Rolex, fake smile. He had that family man image. Wife, 2 kids, Sunday church posts, the works. At first, he was nice, supportive even. He'd compliment my work, offer mentorship, all that corporate-friendly stuff, until the company had this casual Friday event. Everyone brought their partners, and I brought my boyfriend that I didn't think it was a big deal. We've been together for 2 years. I'm not hiding who I am, but Mark? His smile vanished the moment he saw me holding my boyfriend's hand. He didn't say anything that day, but after that, it was like I turned invisible. He stopped inviting me to meetings I used to run. He started criticizing tiny things in my reports. One time, he even said, professionalism is about more than just your work. It's about how people perceive you. Like, excuse me? Then it got worse. Out of nowhere, I was called into HR. They said there were complaints about my conduct. When I asked what they meant, they said there were rumors that I was making people uncomfortable. No details, no proof, just vague accusations. I went home that day furious. And something told me this was Mark's doing. So I started paying attention, watching, listening. And one night, I stayed late at the office to finish a project. When I saw something that made everything click, Mark wasn't alone in his office. He was there with someone else, someone who was definitely not his wife. I froze, because this man, the one who tried to fire me for being gay, was in his office, kissing another man. Now I had a choice. Do I expose him and burn it all down, or play it smart and make sure his own hypocrisy ruins him from the inside out? Because if Mark wanted war, he just started one. Part 2. So I found my boss, Mark, making out with another man in his office. He'd been trying to ruin my career because I'm gay. I could have screamed and burned it down that night, but I didn't. I played a long game, and watching him slowly unravel way better than instant chaos. After that night, I could have exposed him on the spot. Instead, I shut my laptop, left the building, and acted normal the next day. Why? Because angry reveals are messy and easy to dismiss. Calculated exposes are surgical. They leave no room for he said/she said. So I started building a file. Not because I wanted drama, because I wanted proof that would stand up when HR, the board, or even the press looked. Phase 1. Collect evidence without getting illegal. I did the things that are boring but effective. Screenshots and timestamps. I saved emails, calendar invites, text snippets where Mark's tone shifted about me. Those little professionalism comments later looked staged. Witnesses. I quietly asked a coworker I trusted if they ever noticed Mark leaving late with a flash drive or seeing him staying after. They said yes, and agreed to keep an ear out. Patterns. I documented the timeline. The casual Friday with my boyfriend, the sudden performance reviews, the weird concerns HR raised. Patterns tell a story. The smoking gun. I didn't hack. I didn't steal. I used what I already had, my own late-night sighting and a photo I snapped from the hallway. No breaking and entering of Mark and the other man leaving the office together, disheveled. It was grainy, but it was real. I also archived everything off-site. Cloud drive plus a thumb drive hidden at a friend's place. Redundancy is a mood. Phase 2. Control the narrative. This part is key. Don't let the person you're exposing control the frame. I didn't go to social media. I didn't post explosive screenshots. I planned where the evidence would land. HR and legal. I booked a private meeting with HR under the pretense of concerns about workplace conduct. I walked in calm, gave them my timeline, handed over copies of the emails where Mark criticized me for how people perceive me, and explained my late-night sighting. I didn't accuse. I presented facts and asked for a formal inquiry. Trusted witness. The colleague who overheard Mark's odd late-night calls confirmed, privately, that Mark had repeatedly asked a staffer to make sure certain issues didn't get documented. Their testimony made the HR ears perk up. Board-level whisper. I emailed a neutral, factual message to someone on the oversight board. No drama, just a for-your-eyes-only packet containing the core timeline and 2 clean photos. The goal was to make sure HR couldn't sweep this under the rug without oversight. Phase 3. Psychological pressure, subtle, relentless. While the paperwork did its thing, I applied soft pressure that wouldn't look like vendetta. Keep being excellent at work. Nothing torches a target faster than proving you're indispensable. I kept delivering and kept my team calm. That made Mark's attacks look petty, not justified. Micro messages, small comments in meetings. I really value transparency in the workplace. That landed like salt on his nerves. He'd flinch. He'd try to steer conversation. The more he reacted, the worse he looked. Let others notice. I let teammates see me handing HR neutral documents. Word got around that the situation was in official hands. Mark started acting paranoid. He stopped sitting in his usual spots. He checked his phone too much. Paranoia is delicious. Phase 4. The leak. Strategic, not sensational. HR opened an investigation. They asked Mark for an explanation about his professional conduct and cited a few behavioral complaints. He got defensive. HR asked to see his calendar. That's where things tilted. I didn't leak anything to gossip channels. I let HR and legal do their work. But I did plant one quiet thing. A small, anonymous note to a friendly local reporter who covers corporate culture. The note said, check your inbox if you want a case study on hypocrisy. Just a nudge. Reporters love a thread. The inquiry made the company nervous. Now Mark had 3 flames licking at his feet. HR, the board, and the rumor mill. He started making mistakes. Hostile emails, sloppy responses, small, incriminating slips that HR logged. The pile of evidence grew, and people who had ignored my claims earlier started watching point 2 weeks later. HR called me in again. They said the inquiry was escalated to legal, and that certain records had been requested. They asked if I wanted to be anonymized in the process. I said no. Truth should be visible. That night, Mark sent one last menacing message. You have no idea what you've started. I smiled, saved the text, and added it to my folder. Because the slow burn was working. He was starting to burn himself. Part 3 2 weeks into the slow burn. HR called me and said legal was involved. I knew then the timeline I'd built was turning into a wrecking ball. What I didn't know, within 72 hours, Mark's family man image would be shredded across corporate emails, local headlines, and every Slack channel in the company. And me? I finally got to sit back and watch him implode, perfectly legally and loudly. HR escalated the internal investigation to the company's legal counsel after my packet and my witness stepped forward. That triggered 2 things I'd quietly planned for. A formal audit of Mark's calendar and a request for any anomalies in expenses and meeting notes. Once lawyers start asking for records, people panic. And panics make people sloppy. Legal called Mark in and asked him to explain discrepancies. Late-night strategy meetings, calendar entries labeled vaguely, and emails where he'd pressured employees about loyalty and discretion. Mark stammered, gave bland HR answers, and insisted he had nothing to hide. Then legal asked for his mobile log and any notes from the dates in question. He pushed back. They issued a formal preservation order. Panic mode activated the leak that wasn't a leak. Around this time, the board's compliance officer, who I'd quietly alerted with the earliest, clean copy of my timeline, pushed for an external review, the sort of independent audit that executives hate. The external auditor asked for copies of the calendar and relevant email threads. The files were dry as dust. Mark's messages time-stamped his meetings after hours, and one photo of him leaving the office late with the other man I'd seen. The board didn't want a PR disaster, but legal had to act. They suspended Mark pending the audit and notified senior leadership. That suspension was logged publicly in internal comms, and that's how the rumor mill turned into hard fact. An innocuous, anonymous note I'd nudged to a local business reporter now mattered. The reporter called HR for comment about an internal leadership shakeup. HR, playing safe, said only that an internal review was underway and a senior leader was on leave. Reporters smell blood. They started asking questions. Within 48 hours, a short piece ran. Senior exec suspended amid investigation. Social channels lit up. Former colleagues who'd been quietly angry started DMing me screenshots of old incidents I'd forgotten to document. The company tried a containment strategy, a press release about commitment to workplace safety, and an offer to cooperate with investigators. But it was too late. The evidence was already moving through legal channels and public channels alike. The external audit turned up more than inappropriate calendar entries. Expense reports showed odd transfers and client entertainment that didn't line up with invoices. HR interviews found a pattern of retaliatory comments aimed at employees who pushed back. Witnesses corroborated the timeline where Mark had pressured discipline and weaponized professionalism against people he disliked, including me. The board convened an emergency meeting. The decision, terminate for cause. That meant immediate removal, final pay hold, while investigations continued, and a public statement from the company about zero tolerance for abuse of power. The headline the next morning read, "Senior exec terminated after misconduct investigation." Meanwhile, Mark called. He texted. He begged. At first it was threats, "You started this." Then panic, "I have a family." Then whiny regret, "I'm sorry." I saved every message. Everyone went into the legal folder. Ethan, a buddy who leaked me a tidbit earlier, texted, "Did you see this?" I replied, "I did, and I'm sorry it had to be like this." He sent a heart emoji. Complicated. 2 months later, Mark's professional profile was scrubbed from the company website. The board released a measured statement about the termination and the company's renewed commitment to safe workplaces. HR rolled out mandatory training, a third-party whistleblower hotline, and a new anonymous reporting tool. People I'd worked with before wrote to say the environment finally felt safer. I got a new job offer from a recruiter who'd seen my calm handling of the situation, a role in a company with better leadership and real values. And the best part? The men who'd once made jokes about people like me, they started watching their language. Accountability changes culture. This wasn't theatrical revenge. It wasn't nasty or petty. It was documentation, timing, and refusing to be silenced. He tried to use power to erase me. I used proof to protect myself, and maybe others. People ask if I feel bad about the man's life unraveling. Not really. He made his choices. He weaponized his authority against people who didn't deserve it. The world doesn't owe abusers redemption without accountability. If you ever face workplace abuse, document, witness, escalate, and protect yourself. And never underestimate the slow, clean power of the truth.